Welcome to the Just Be Nice Project podcast with me, Josh Reed Jones, discussing all things powerful positive impact, finding out how you can remove barriers to opportunity for others through insightful and hopefully interesting conversations covering honest, diverse, and sometimes neglected areas of discussion. We are, as always, seeking to create extraordinary positive change in the world by helping you make ordinary positive change as we help you help others. You've got through the intro, now hang in there for the good stuff, strap yourself in, turn it up, and as always, just be nice as we roll the show. Welcome to the Just Be Nice Project podcast. Once again, as we record this today, we respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are recording, the Bunwurrung and Wiradjuri peoples of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respect to their elders, past and present. You're here with me, Josh Reed Jones, he, him, and today I'm catching up with CrossFit athlete, mum, coach, student, and all-round ray of sunshine, Denae Brown, she, her. Thanks for joining me today. How are you, Dee?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. It's such a pleasure. You're in Melbourne now, at the moment.
Yes.
Right at this second, because it's the best. But you come over from Perth. Why would you leave the world's most livable city to live in like the world's most remote capital city, which is Perth?
Well,
it's sunny.
I did jump on the plane. I literally was in shorts and a t-shirt. I got off the plane, raining, full-on pants on, jumper.
Delicious.
Yeah. I was like, take me back to Perth.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's sunny right there. You can see the sunshine at the moment.
There's a patch at this minute. I don't know how long that's going to last for, but
just a patch. It'll move across Melbourne so everyone gets a little taste.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Perth?
It'll be close to 6 years now, I think. Yeah, just over 6 years. Yeah,
it's
6, 7 years. So it is. Yeah, it's a fair innings. I don't necessarily know where I'd call home.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty close too.
Where did you grow up?
Well, I actually grew up on a farm in...
That explains a lot. Country strong. Now it all makes sense.
So a tiny little town, Pinaroo, which is right on the South Australian Victorian border. Population of, like 500.
Way less now that you've left. It's like $4.99.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up on a farm. We lived in a pub. My mum owned a pub for a little bit.
Awesome.
Publican's daughter.
Yep.
And then after we moved out of the pub, we lived on a farm. It was good. It was probably the best upbringing I think a kid could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, heaps of freedom and fun. And
unlimited pool at the pub.
Yeah, with that too, yep.
Did you have a Daytona machine?
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
But hang on. We definitely had pinball machines though. Yep.
I remember just getting the old guys to just try and hook me $1, at the pub, and my old man was working there. It's like, hey, anyone will give me $1 so I can play Daytona for a bit, This pub smells like pub.
Yeah.
And now that smell reminds me of being a kid, like that kind of beery carpet.
Yes. Beer, smoke stained carpet. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, it smells like pub to me now. Yeah. Which smells like childhood.
Yeah.
And did you ever work in the pub, or you left before that was an option?
Well.
It's all right. Fair work out. Don't listen to the podcast. It's totally fine.
No child labour.
Like, well.
Well, I guess it would define what you mean in terms of work, because so when I was little, I used to sing and dance in front of the bar.
Yeah, you did. What's one of those kind of pubs?
Yeah, no, not one of those kind of pubs, no. And had my little hat there, and I'd like be singing.
Make some little pocket money. They're just that's nice. Here's $1 to be quiet.
And then, absolutely. That's probably what look at that cute kid. Yeah. Oh, God, shut her up, please. Somebody shut her up. So I did that. And then also what I would do is upstairs, we had the balcony, and I would go downstairs and I would take the chips and the Coke and all the good stuff, take it upstairs, and then charge kids to come in for my secret party.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Little hustler. Yeah. Just hustling in Pinaroo. Like, oh yeah, little Pinaroo hustler over there with their secret parties, singing and dancing for cash. That's awesome.
Yeah, so...
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, 3 older brothers.
Did you charge them for the access to
for
the
the
chips?
privilege?
Or they're just like, I'm just coming
Privilege.
in.
Yeah.
I'm taking whatever's in here.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Is anyone still there?
One of my brothers. My middle brother, he's there.
Awesome.
Him and his family are there. So
You've got a reason to visit from time to time and reminisce.
well, yes, not that I actually ever
It's a
long
long way.
It's a
I
long
don't
way.
visit people that are 30 minutes down the road
Okay,
sometimes,
cool.
so I'm not going to judge.
All right, cool. Yeah, I don't feel bad then.
And your mum ran the pub, so did she move around as a publican? I know a couple of publicans that ended up in, their whole lives were moving from pub to pub to pub.
Yep. Yeah, we did a couple. There was one in Borough and then one in Pinaroo. So it was,
Just on the glamour circuit.
Just on the glamour circuit of the rural setting. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And then you ended up in Melbourne working not far from here, actually.
Yeah.
Which I found out just before.
Yeah.
Amazing. Tell us about the corporate period of time.
Okay.
Before we get to the sweaty time.
So when I left school, I was, I kind of had this vision that I would be in the corporate setting, in PR and marketing.
Having secret parties, charging people, money for the
chips.
Dance on the side, chips.
Yeah, great. Dancing and chips. So that is the vision that I thought, or where I was going to go, which is kind of crazy because when I was at school, I went to an all-girls school in Adelaide. Did my year 11 and 12 there. And, it was pretty strict on the policy of what you had to wear. But I would always wear my sports uniform every day. The nuns go past. Hey, Denae, why are you in your sports uniform? Oh, PE next class. Yep.
Every class.
No, PE's every class. PE next class. So I don't know really why I had this vision of that I would be in marketing and PR. Considering, my whole life, everything was about sport. So I moved to Melbourne. First job in a PR and advertising company, and then worked at Red Bull.
Awesome.
Best job in the world.
That's where you got your wings.
That's where I got my wings.
Amazing.
Yeah. Had a absolute ball
They're
working
just
for
down in
them.
Port Melbourne then?
Yeah.
Yeah, just off Salmon Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I was with them when they first made that move.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Got to do a bunch of really cool stuff there. Went to Athens for the Olympics.
Awesome.
Went to Shanghai for the Grand Prix. It was, Red Bull.
Great. Drank heaps of sugar and caffeine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It
was charging all the time. Yeah. I was
vodka Red Bulls every day. It looks like a fun place to work. Also I really like that they just invest in people doing crazy outlandish stuff. Like, what are you planning to do? Like, I don't know, jump off this mountain.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're into that. Let's do that.
That's all right. We'll sponsor you to do that.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
That'd
Great.
be awesome marketing team fun,
Yeah.
Who's doing the craziest stuff? Just quickly Google some craziness and let's give that guy a pat on the back for doing that. And then you obviously got a bit over it.
Got over it and then moved.
You wanted to get your heart rate under 300 BPM resting.
Yes.
So then what happened?
So then I worked in sales at Fitness First. I started off at Melbourne Central. And
the fancy one.
The fancy one, yep. And then I did relatively well there. And then so they moved me out to manage one of the underperforming, or I was assistant manager to one of the underperforming clubs out in Chadstone. They ended up coming third in the state in terms of sales. So I did that for a little bit. That was a really tough grind, but I really value my time spent there because it taught me a lot of grit and, you're literally on the street, selling. Hey, how you going?
Like you could use
hey, yeah, exactly. Like I could never do that now.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how the hell I did it.
Yeah.
When I look back, but yeah.
Much easier to give away free cans of Red Bull.
100%.
That's a much easier value proposition for people to understand.
Want a Red Bull or do you want to buy a gym membership?
Do you want to buy a gym membership forever that you can never get
Yeah.
One of those things. Yeah. When you die, it passes on to your family for them to keep paying it. That's how this works. So in perpetuity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I finished that, and then I went and worked for a company called Blue Scope Steel.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, so it was in the economic downturn. I wanted to change from what I was doing, wanted something a little bit that wasn't working as crazy hours, like as in 9 till 10 o'clock at night. So I worked at Blue Scope Steel.
Selling Colorbond.
Yes, well, selling steel, RHS, and knew nothing about it, absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah,
But
now you know.
But now I know a small percentage of it. So I ended up working there for 5 years. But
How you didn't end up with a Woman of Steel nickname once you started competing? I don't know now. That was a missed opportunity. Blue Scope should have been on that.
Yeah, I know. Well, I did have a little tagline.
Yep.
Instead of selling steel, I'm now lifting it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And then, obviously, being around steel constantly,
Yes.
you're like, I can bend and lift all of this.
Yeah.
What am I doing selling it all the time?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
I imagine they made you go to the gym sometimes if you were working at Fitness First. Like, it kind of helps if you go to the gym.
Yeah.
Were you doing sports stuff, training a lot?
Yeah, like I'd always, my whole life.
Still wearing your sports uniform constantly?
Yeah.
everywhere?
Denae, you're supposed to be in work attire.
I've got PE next, all right? Just letting you know.
Yeah.
Bust my balls about it. The nuns are just still walking around like, really?
Really?
25 years old, you're still in your PE uniform? Sort it out.
Yeah, no, look, I'd always been into fitness and health and training at a gym, kind of more like HIIT style. And I had a friend that does like Muay Thai kickboxing. So I went over to Thailand with her and I'd do some stuff like that. But not in terms of I was introduced to CrossFit through my ex-partner.
Yep. So you've been Les Milling.
Well, not so much Les Milling as making my own stuff
Oh,
up.
awesome. Yeah.
Do it.
Do this. Oh, pick this thing up for a little bit. No, I'm going to go over to this other thing and do it. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
And then you started doing CrossFit.
And then I started doing CrossFit. So
do you want to shout out the first place you went to do CrossFit?
Probably. Oh no, sorry, Jungle Gym.
Jungle Gym. Yeah.
That was it.
Down in Balaclava.
Yes.
OG.
Yeah, that was the first place I'd started. Yeah.
Lifting them weights.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't lift much at that time. It was like a barbell that I think I've got a photo of me lifting. It's literally probably a 15 kilo barbell with 2.5 kilos on either side.
Yep.
Yep. And I've got this like excruciating pain face.
Oh, great.
Like it's 120 kilos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it's a deadlift or something.
No. It's a jerk.
Oh, it was overhead. Okay.
It was overhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Picking 25 kilos up off the ground. I think you would have been able to do it.
Yeah. So.
And then did you find out that you were really good at it and then lean into it, or did you just love it and then find out you were really good at it?
Well, I think like I was. Yeah, it was.
It's okay. Well, there's no no judgment here. No tall puppies around here.
Okay.
I'll gush about how great you were. Don't worry.
Yeah, obviously it was something I fell into and was pretty good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that time it was like the 2010 CrossFit Games, and I remember watching Christian Clever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw her and I was like, right, that's what I want to do. And then so I just decided that was what I was going to do.
You look nothing like Christian Clever.
No, I know.
Like, people like look at, they're like, I'm kind of that kind of shape and everything.
Okay.
I could be that guy. Like when you want to play footy, you pick the person that maybe you could be like. You get there, you're like, yeah, that one. Yeah, Christian Clever. That's the one I think I'll like be like that. Shave my head.
Yep, get stuck in. Yep. No, I digged her. I did. I really. Yeah.
She's into it.
I digged the cut of her jib. It was good. Yeah, she was cool.
She's cool. She is cool.
Yeah.
I always felt like her shorts were too big.
Okay.
Like those big 3/4 leg.
Yeah.
I used to wear those in high school maybe, but apart from that, she's a killer.
Yeah.
And she's funny too.
Yes, absolutely.
For people who aren't members of the cult,
yeah,
I know it's hard for people in CrossFit to understand, but not everyone knows what it is or what it actually means or what it means the games mean or anything. Do you want to give us your little spiel, I suppose, on what all that is? What's CrossFit? What's the deal?
Okay, so CrossFit is, well, it's a combination of Olympic weightlifting, running, rowing, jumping, basically, you name it. The idea is that you're supposed to be able to be given anything in terms of any physical exercise, lifting, clean and jerking, snatching, into what would be a workout. And you have to do really good at it. Exercise really quickly.
Go fast.
Yeah.
Win the thing.
Yeah, win it. Yeah.
Or lift the most.
Yes.
There's some good lift the most events.
Yes,
as
there
well.
are.
Looks
Yes.
like Sam Dancer will lift all the weight on the planet.
Yeah.
Things like that.
He's very cool to watch.
He is cool. Big Viking man.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of am envious of his, enormousness
Yeah.
and how strong he is. I just think, what is life like for someone that strong? I have friends that are extraordinarily strong, and I just think, does this chair feel weirdly light? Like, is this cup, is this mug too easy to pick up? Is it weird that you don't even register that you're moving stuff until it's 120 kilos? I can't imagine what it's like to be able to deadlift that much weight. It's insane. But it doesn't sound like you were always super awesome at sports. That you liked it. Did you win a whole bunch of stuff at high school or anything, or?
Well, when I was in the country growing up, I'd pretty much have a different sport on every night.
Yep.
Yeah, netball, basketball, baseball. Gosh, I even tried badminton for one.
Yeah.
Basically anything you name it.
Into it.
I was into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is actually the perfect upbringing for doing well later in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they say. The science is not. I don't think it's under any debate that you shouldn't specialise till quite late in your teens for nearly every sport. It's better to just play lots of different sports, specialise when you're 15 or 16, then start trying to be good at something. So doing heaps of different things, I think, sets you up really well, particularly for CrossFit.
Yeah, I agree.
2010, you fell in love with Christian Clever, which is great. And in 2012, so there's a qualification situation. You got to go and exercise fast next to the fastest exercisers in Australia, and then you get to go and exercise fast with people from all over the world in the United States.
Yeah.
And that's called the Games. Although that's changing now, so you're now from a different era.
Totally different era.
Yeah, you're that.
Yeah.
That's you. So enjoy that situation. But you qualified, in the Australian situation in 2012, but you were up the duff.
Well, I was. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So 2011 was my first regionals that I ever went to, where I finished 7th.
Yeah.
And then...
Which doesn't qualify you for the Games.
Which doesn't qualify me for the Games. Then I was like, right, I think I can actually do this. And I trained my ass off. And yeah, I ended up coming 3rd at the regionals. But I couldn't figure out why I was so puffed out.
Yeah.
I was like, gosh, I must have maybe overtrained before I got here, or
so I'm a bit overwhelmed.
So I don't know, something's not right.
The Red Bull's kicking in again, like a residual Red Bull from 5 years ago is coming back to haunt me.
Residual Red Bull or something else from 5 years. I don't know. God knows.
My secret parties.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't know at the time, and it wasn't until I got back from Sydney and I started back into training. And the first week is always, it's a grind. But the following week after that, I was like, oh, hang on, something doesn't really feel right. I probably should have recovered by now. And I went to the doctor and I said, oh, it's just, I don't know, something's not right.
Just sick in the morning and kind of tired all the time. I don't know what it is. What could this possibly be?
I'm out of breath a little bit and, and she said to me, she goes, oh, I think you should do a pregnancy test. I was like, oh, come on. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not pregnant. I'm fine.
I was just doing CrossFit. I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
I'm not pregnant. Turns out
she knew
what she was talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So competed in the regionals with a baby on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
No.
Then afterwards, you're like, I shouldn't have celebrated so hard after getting in. I always think that about there must be that window of time before, if you're not like actively trying and like obsessing about it. That like, there's a real chance that in that first month or whatever, that you're like, I got wasted in there. I had a big party. Sorry, Sarah. Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Well,
Mum always jokes about that, like, because, for us, she smoked and like, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And she didn't with my brother, and my brother's like 4 inches taller than me. Okay. And I'm always like, you shafted me out of all this height, and doing these things when I was in utero.
Yeah.
Feel jibbed. I'd be an AFL footballer if I had an extra,
Thanks,
4
Mum.
inches of height. Thanks, Mum.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But,
well, Sarah does have a lot of energy.
Yep.
Like a lot.
She's partly fueled by
energy.
Red Bull as well.
Yeah, she's partly fueled by Red Bull.
She got your wings.
Yeah. So she is, she's pretty full on.
That's good.
Good, but...
Well, lucky you're always doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because then, you had the baby, and then you were like, okay, this is fun, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to find my way back again. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, I had Sarah, and originally, like, I was, there was an article, like, I was content on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. I didn't, I was like, okay, yep, I'm happy to be a mum now, and, yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Like, well, I was for a bit, but then I got itchy feet, and I was watching everyone, I got FOMO.
Well, it was actually my ex-partner. He said to me, he goes, "No, I think you should do it.
Yep.
I think if you don't do it, you'll regret it." And I was like, yep, cool, okay. The logistics of that, though, because he was working 8 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So it meant that what that was going to look like is that I would be managing Sarah on my own because I didn't have any family there, and doing it all on my own.
Baby bouncer off the pull-up bar.
Yeah.
8 weeks at a time.
Yep. Yeah.
That's fun. And you're in Perth at that point?
I was in Perth at that point.
FIFO situation.
Yeah. So it was, again, it's something I look back on my life and I went, I don't know how
did I do that?
I don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
I would never do it again. I
don't recommend it.
I actually don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. I don't recommend doing something absolutely so stupid to think about having a baby and then trying to compete to go back to the CrossFit Games. Mm-hmm. Like, it's mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental.
You did it.
But I did it.
And you didn't fail.
Well, no. Yeah.
That would have been like double mental maybe.
Yes.
Like, I did all this work.
Yeah.
I had to hang Sarah off the door frame while I trained for all this time.
Yes.
And
yes.
I didn't get there, but you did.
Yeah. So I did.
2014?
Yeah, 2014. So, but it didn't come without its consequences. Mm-hmm. So at the time, there was some stuff obviously going on with my ex and I, and I ended up, I think that in itself was fuel. Like, I just put all of my energy into my training, which is why I think it was mainly a lot around my why I wanted to, get back to the games and do so well. Mm-hmm. But in that process of doing that, I also became like really sick. I got shingles. Mm-hmm. So leading up to the Open, just too much stress.
Yep.
And I think that was just the onset of adrenal fatigue.
Yep.
So I just
So in 2014, you went into the Open post shingles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or with shingles.
With shingles.
Yeah.
Then went to regionals and won it.
Yeah.
Beat everyone in Australia.
Yeah.
Probably had, looking a bit scabby and
yeah.
No, I want to let it go in front.
Let it go.
Okay.
Don't get it here.
Yeah. Skin thing going on. What's going on?
Yeah.
It's funny. I've never met a more affected group of people from shingles than CrossFitters.
Yes.
Because people just go so hard and just burn. Like, because everyone's working. Like, no one's not.
Yeah.
There's like one in a million people that can just do it and sleep 17 times a day. Yeah, and they just get
burnt out,
railed by it because it's very demanding. Yeah,
absolutely, very demanding. But you chuck on, I was mum at home on my own, managing a baby. I literally would probably have 4 hours sleep or something like that, 4 or 5 maybe, broken sleep through the night.
Sometimes when you're doing performance stuff, people get funny about their food. Were you like under eating, do you think, or or overeating or anything like that as well? Or you're just whatever I could shove in my head?
Whatever.
One pureed thing
Yeah.
for you.
One pureed for me. Yeah.
So going to the games like that, did you find that you relaxed because you went away? Like, you're like, oh, I'm away from it all. This is like amazing. Like,
oh, 100%. It was like a holiday for me.
Yeah.
And I found it was really funny because I know that a lot of people commented that I was always so happy and like cruisy, and I wasn't worried or stressed out the workouts. But you know what? It was a break.
Yeah.
I wasn't being a mum.
Yeah.
But I love being a mum, but as all mums...
I don't think there's a mum around going, well, you should never have a break if you really love it. That you should just do it all the time with no breaks.
Yeah. So for me, it was like an opportunity to have some fun around like-minded people and do what I loved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you stare at everyone's abs everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many abs.
So many abs. So it was always fun. Like it was a break for me.
So when you came back for 2015, did you then think, oh, well, I'm kind of doing this to get my break? Did like it change? Like if I do well, I get a break.
I get to have another break again. I'd gone into 2015. It was going to be my final year competing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's so much that goes into competing at that level, and in particular, obviously, when you have a family, that it's almost really hard to describe.
Yeah.
So went back into 2015, wanted to obviously qualify again. The demands of it had definitely like taken its toll on me. So I was probably struggling a lot with the adrenal fatigue by then. Mm-hmm. So I had to manage my training a lot around it. I moved to Melbourne. I made a change to move back to Melbourne so I wasn't on my own anymore, and I could be around people. Because most of the training that I did beforehand was in my own gym at home. Yeah. So it was a lot of self-motivation.
That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy.
It's stupid.
That's amazing. That is amazing. It is so hard to do.
Yeah, I can't do it now. You can't even actually get me into the gym to train without other people.
Yeah.
But,
where's everybody? I'm going home.
I'm going home.
I'm just sitting on my phone.
Come on, guys. Where are you?
Where's everybody?
Yeah, I moved back to Melbourne. Schwartz, went to Schwartz's and obviously was surrounded by, that group of beasts and awesome people. Shout out to Benji. So I think that really helped get me through the final year because my passion was kind of waning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know whether it was a combination of the sacrifices I had to make in terms of how much I could see Sarah because of the hours I was investing in training. And the sacrifices that I had to make from being away home from Perth. Yeah. And also the sacrifices in terms of like the hours that I was training. So I think had I done it again, I probably would have made sure that I would be training during the day, not morning and night or anything like that. Yeah. Because it ended up, I think there was just so much conflict going on with, I wanted to be with my daughter, and because obviously you don't get paid in CrossFit, you're doing it. Like there has to be, it was a real goal achievement driven thing that I was doing. Yeah. And I guess part of it was like, I've kind of ticked that box.
Yeah. And it's just, because you just do everything then is really individual because it's not like you're combining work with being a mum or mum with being training or training with work. It's like every individual thing is now its own separate thing that you've got to go and do individually to tick all those boxes. So all of a sudden 100%. You've got all of these things to do together. And that's a lot. Yeah. And the training is fucking hard. Yeah. You have to train so hard. The people who do this stuff, the good, it's insane. You have to be good at, for people who aren't quite sure and didn't pick up before, you have to be basically really good at like 30 things, which means you have to be training not just one thing all the time and getting good at like 30 things. And it's a lot. Just to fit that into a program. Without
overtraining on anything.
Yeah, without overtraining or breaking something. Yes. Or, getting too beat up while your hands look like they've been chewed on by dogs, It's crazy. But you got through it, obviously.
So I got through it, and then leading up into the regionals, my mum was diagnosed with cancer. So,
Right, it's just thing after thing.
I think
Great. Really looking forward to this holiday now.
Yeah, 100%.
This year, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think life gives you what you can handle, and maybe that's just what life thought that I could handle it. So, my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I literally was told that, like a week prior to regionals. So I'd been training. I was like feeling really good. I was, fittest I'd had ever been. And then I remember that call. Yeah, pretty much like it was yesterday. It was from my mum, and she said, I've got cancer. It's rather large, and we're going through the process of what are the next stages.
Yeah.
So, so I was working. So in effect, I guess life has a funny way of, leading you down where you need to be. So in effect, I guess I look at, the reason why I had to move back to Melbourne was to be there for my mum during this time, because I wouldn't have been there then.
She was in Melbourne.
She was living in Melbourne.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd moved back to Melbourne to complete this 2015.
Yep.
Yeah. And what it meant is that I was able to be with her. She was able to be with my daughter, and we were able to have like some really special moments together. So in terms of like the 2015, that's what I look at. That's the reason why that year happened.
Yeah.
So I decided to dedicate any fundraising that I did to a Support Strong Foundation, and we raised $5,000. Yeah. For the Support Strong.
You're like right on the edge of being able to get like winning money as well. They started to change the games a little bit after.
Yes.
Like the event wins and stuff would have come in after that, wouldn't they?
They did have event wins.
Okay.
And I was going to donate everything that I'd earned from that, but unfortunately I just didn't quite make it.
Yep.
Which I was pretty disappointed about. But I think in terms of the movement that was able to create in that time was really good. So there's a story, right, of I don't know whether you remember the sandbag event.
Yeah.
I guess to take it back for your listeners. So the sandbag event, it was an event at the CrossFit Games, and the aim is to get, a whole heap of sandbags.
Heavy sandbags.
Yeah, heavy sandbags, like 170 pounds or
30, 40 kilos.
Yeah.
Yep.
So from one side of a massive stadium.
Kind of looks like Rod Laver. It's like a tennis court looking thing with steps up either side of it and a court in the middle of it. That's kind of how it looks, isn't it, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So the sandbags are dropped at, one's at the top, one's in the middle, one's at the bottom. And the idea is to, move the sandbags from one side over to the next, and you had to put them all into a wheelbarrow, like this massive beefed up.
Yeah, super barrow.
Yeah.
Red Bull wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wings.
Yeah. So I was looking forward to the wheelbarrow. Obviously, I grew up in the country.
You're onto it.
That was fine.
That's how I used to move my chips and Coke around to my parties.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I was ready to roll.
Yeah.
So I started the event and I was winning. This was pretty much in my wheelhouse. All work, lung capacity, no problems. So I grabbed the top sandbags, like top, middle, bottom, popped them into the wheelbarrow, had no problem, obviously, how to stack them.
Yep.
Flew across the floor. Now, with the sandbags, as I kind of mentioned before, there was two sandbags that were like really, really heavy, and the other ones were lighter. So the idea is that you had to stack them up, and because I'm so short and little.
So they're throwing them over the fence to get to the stairs again. There's like the wall on the edge of the court, and you've got to somehow get them over the wall, climb the wall, and then distribute them on the stairs, back up the stairs on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for short people like you,
you've
got to make a pile of them, stand on them, and somehow throw them over as you're getting shorter, as every sandbag sort of comes out from underneath you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was absolutely crushing this event, okay? And I was like, this is going to be good. This is going to be, this will be a top maybe 3 or 5, which will work out well because
Yep.
I was sitting at the end of the first day, like on the 7th or something like that,
Yeah.
after the swim, and so I was like, oh, this is good, this is really good. But I'm such a dickhead.
Here we go.
Such a dickhead. So I was chucking all the sandbags over, feeling like I'm killing it, crushing it, and then I got to the
sandbag's the heaviest sandbag
yeah,
and the furthest to go now.
yeah,
Damn it!
yeah. So I made a couple attempts, all right, to try and get it over the wall, but it was, you know what, it was just too heavy, and I was like too far off
Yep.
of it. I looked at the clock and I was like, oh, fuck, okay. I'm going to have to get what I have up to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise I'm not going to get any points, and I'm going to end up being like dead last.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have to do what I can. So I scaled over the wall, and then, you know, taking 2 sandbags at a time, like ran each one up, back, up, back, up, back, up, back to the top. I stood at the top of the stadium after, you know, running with these heavy sandbags, and I had on my wrist a friend of mine, Penny Kemp. She had given me before the games had started some kinesiology tape,
Mm-hmm.
but it had like pink ribbon on it to signify for breast cancer.
Breast cancer, yep.
So I had that on my wrist, and I kind of, you know, I was pretty beat at this time, but I looked down on it, and at that point I remembered what it was that I was aiming for, and I remembered at that point why I was there. So I picked myself up and I ran down the stairs.
Over the top. I'm getting it. Here we go.
Yeah. Grabbed the sandbag and I got it over the wall.
Just flicked it.
Still to this day, I have no idea. I have no idea how I got it over there. Superpowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
So kind of, yeah, establishing that why, and then managed to, finish the event. So, yeah.
Where'd you end up coming by the end of all of that?
Oh, God. No, I didn't even look.
Don't know.
Hey,
Don't want to know.
Don't want to know.
I'm too devo about how many times it took me at the beginning to get it over.
Oh, I'm too devo that I left the red sandbag.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that? So.
But that's the nature as well of events where you can watch other people do stuff. But oh, definitely don't do that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Everyone gets the benefit of watching you make a mistake and being the first one over. We're like,
Yes.
oh, hang on, I'll just stack these up and.
Yeah. That was the plan, though. The
Yeah.
plan was to have the red sandbags on top.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Heat of the moment.
Heat of the moment.
Still got it over.
Still got it over, and makes a pretty cool story.
Yeah, it's a great story. Plus, you're a weapon.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The whole thing to get there. I mean, people won't know. There's a handful of people that know what a big deal it is to just be out there doing anything like that,
Yeah.
and it's insane. And then I know if I'm ever run over by a car,
Yes.
that you might be able to flick it off me. You know, the moment of, you know,
Yeah.
you get that elevated sense
yeah.
of purpose and
Yep.
just get stuck in. Do you think now? Because you did the Masters competition. We're 28 or last year, 2017.
2017, I think.
Yeah. Are you still CrossFitting? Are you still doing that sort of situation?
Well.
Oh, look out! Here we go. I got a phone call the other day.
Well, so yeah, I ended up going back and doing Masters, right? That was. I'm going to backtrack you a little bit. Is that okay?
Do it.
All right. Okay. Okay. So I ended up going back and doing Masters. And that was basically off the back of, I got a phone call from Dave Castro the year.
He's like the boss of the whole games situation.
Yeah. The year previously.
Yeah.
And he said, Dee, do you want to be part of the demo team? And this was coming off the back of 2015 after I'd gone to the games.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally spent the first 3-4 months, like as in struggling to get to the toilet.
Yep.
I was fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to turn Dave Castro down
Yep.
and say, I'm sorry, admittedly after a few back and forth texts.
Yeah.
Like, so can you tell me, what part of demoing would it actually be? Like, can I do 1 or 2 reps?
Yeah.
And, but he was like, nah, it will be the full workout and it will be workouts after workouts. And I knew my body just wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, I couldn't do that. And I couldn't do that to my family too, because that would mean that was going to take longer in my recovery process.
Yeah.
So after the back of that, I think that was a moment in time where I was like, I really hated feeling that way, because up into that moment, CrossFit and what I was able to do with my body kind of defined me in a sense.
Yeah.
So, I just decided that it was it. I didn't want to feel that way again. I didn't want to feel that that had been taken away from me, and that I couldn't do it. So I then decided to make another lofty goal.
Great. Boom.
Yep.
Get the post-its out. Here we go. Vision board. We're doing it.
Yep.
It's happening.
And that's why I decided to go, fuck it. I'll make it as a masters athlete. I'll compete in the inaugural 35-year-old division.
Yep. And
I'll train up and I'll just do that. It'll give me a goal. It'll give me a purpose. That's what I'll do. So I did.
Good work, obsessed brain. I'm just going to go be obsessed about it now because that was horrible. I didn't want to let Dave down. That's fine. I'm into it. Let's do it. Let's go ahead. That's great. I mean, it's still... I have seen them, like the masters athletes,
Oh, they're fierce.
They're insane.
Yeah.
You go to these events and you're just like, wow, like 60-year-olds, jacked, strong,
oh my gosh.
ripped.
They're...
It's good. It's worth having a crack.
Yeah.
Are you still having a crack?
Well,
you'd be like top age now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm in the 35-year-olds. Well, I'm definitely never going to compete as an individual. I think I've definitely ticked those boxes, and there's no definitely done that. It's not really something I'm focusing on at the moment. It's something I do. Yeah. And I'm pretty goal orientated. If you kind of
we've kind of worked out. I think that's something that's fairly obvious. I write a thing down on my wall and then I just run through the wall until I get there. It's fine.
You just do it.
You just do it.
Yeah.
Is it hard to stay motivated all the time once you've done that, or it's just you find that once you set your mind on it, you're just like, well, here we go.
Yeah, I think I have a really good ability of being able to have like a flashlight focus on something. I can't just say, right, I'm going to write these lofty goals. Here we go. I want to do this, blah, 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 blah. It has to come from a place of like passion, or there has to be some meaning behind it. There has to be some depth to it. Yeah. Otherwise, whatever. Whatever. So I think, once I have like a real passion and a desire, work obviously orientated, kind of sports work orientated, then I just go at it. Like I said, I have an ability to have that kind of flashlight focus, and that is it.
Are you like that at uni? Are you the annoying mature age student that asks too many questions all the time? I did this thing. I'm just wondering.
No, of course, yes, I ask a lot of questions.
If anyone at Murdoch is asking, I'm really focused, and I ask only good questions. I don't waste anyone's time ever.
No, never. I think I found uni just like CrossFit. When I found CrossFit, I feel like I found a part of me. I think a lot of people, they go through life and they're not 100% sure of their identity as such. And I know we can define ourselves through what we do, and a lot of people do. But I feel like CrossFit was where I was able to find myself, because I was pretty lost before then. And I feel like in terms of like studying, so I'm now doing exercise science and a Bachelor of Psychology, in which I want to move into, I'm not really interested in studying clinical psychology, so anything to do with like depression or bipolar or anything like that.
You
My
pointed at me when you said bipolar.
Oh, sorry.
You know.
My interests lie in kind of optimization and how to get people to be able to live the best life that they can live.
Yeah,
that's
great
where
goal.
that's where my kind of motivation is around.
Obviously, I love that.
Yeah.
So that's a great situation.
Cool.
Mature age students.
Yeah.
I remember having mixed feelings about them in the lecture theatres.
Yes, yes. Shut up, please.
Yeah,
We want to get
really?
out of here.
I'm trying to go to the pub. It's 11
yeah,
already.
yeah.
What's going on? There's chips waiting for me.
Yeah.
There's a secret party going on. Well, you're not invited.
Yeah.
Old lady, you don't get to come with us. Do you have like tips for mums? I see on social media. I'm not a mum, obviously, but I see on social media there's diametrically opposed kinds of attitudes that are one that's, oh, we're too hard on people, we expect too much of them, and the other one's like, shut up, stop making excuses, anyone can fit in anything if they really want to do it. And there's that, you always got these kind of conflicting messages. I imagine it's quite difficult to navigate when you also have like a child who's constantly like requires attention. Children aren't very good at looking after themselves for quite a while. Want some attention, need some stuff. Do you have tips for people, or do you just sort of go, look, this works for me, this is what I do, and maybe you can do it, or maybe do whatever else you want to do? How do you sort of manage that?
Yeah.
Advice?
I'm not staunch on any kind of opposing.
Yep.
I just think that, so in terms of, when I was pregnant with Sarah, I didn't train at all for the last month. You know what? I trained a lot. I trained more than what I needed to. So I just wanted to enjoy the pregnancy itself. So kind of my philosophy is probably more around, if you are a mum and you are looking to be a mum, then perhaps, thinking about how to get your body in the best possible place prior. Mm-hmm. This is obviously if you're planning to be, but it's about, getting your body in the best physical condition it is prior. So when you are pregnant, then you're just, your training that you do is only for your mind.
Yeah.
It's not about any transformation in anything. And it's about you being able to enjoy it. And I also feel that, in particular after you do have a baby, that, there's really precious moments and times in your life that you will never get back. So it's important to be able to have those moments guilt-free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be present and not feel bad, like you're not racing off to achieve some other thing that you were doing before that, or...
Absolutely, 100%. So I guess probably where I stand is that if you are, thinking of becoming a mum, or you are wanting to get pregnant, then about putting things in place in terms of getting your fitness level.
I was just like, if you're thinking about getting pregnant, putting things in place is probably part of the process.
You may need to put something in there.
Some things may need to be put in some places. That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
I'm 6 years old.
Okay.
Part of myself.
So it's about getting fit and training before then.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Not afterwards.
Yep.
Yep. That's not the time. That's the time to enjoy baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as that sort of time, as you recover and you have that time and space frees up, and
you'll probably want it.
Yeah.
You'll probably want it because you'll be like, yes, awesome. I get to go out to the gym for 30, 40 minutes or something like that. I get to go.
7 times a week.
Yeah. I get to,
Whatever regular people do.
Whatever it is. Yeah, I'm just like, I get to hang out with my mum friends. I get to socialise. I get to, we get to do that stuff. So that's probably more along the lines of my philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. It seems perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
And nice as well, like to have that time with your kid and have no pressure or be thinking about being somewhere else.
Being present in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, because they don't last.
Yeah, they get big real quick.
They do. And then before you know it,
They got homework.
they got homework.
They got all kinds of stuff going on.
Sarah was getting on the plane coming over here, so she came over a little earlier than me.
Yeah.
And she's like, I dropped her off at the airport. She was with her.
She's like, peace out, I'm off.
You know what? She was like, bye, Mum. I'm off to Paris.
Oh, are you?
Oh,
okay.
Really?
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Okay. And I was like, kept walking her up, and she's like, go, Mum. Bye. Go. I'm like, but. Oh, okay.
Don't you need
Yeah.
me? It's like, no.
No.
Whatever, I don't
Whatever,
need you.
Mum.
I'm going to Paris.
Yeah.
Anyway, they got a phone call from Paris.
Yeah.
Somehow she's on a plane to Paris. Now I'm in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. I'm totally screwed by
I
the time
don't know
she's
where
18.
she is. Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah. I'm yeah.
A little strong-willed little thing. She's got a little
screwed.
goal of her own.
Yeah.
Just watch out. I'm going to Paris,
Yeah.
all right? So you could try and stop me.
See you, Mum. Yeah.
It's so fun when they're super sassy like that and just getting amongst it. Testing the boundaries, seeing what they can get away with, trying some things out. Yeah, I'm this. Okay.
Okay.
Sure, you can do that.
Yeah.
I'm a princess, so you don't get to talk to me like that.
Yeah.
Or telling people off the way they were just told off.
Oh, yeah.
Stop doing that. You stop doing
Yeah.
that. Like, oh, okay, righto. That's what's happening now. You're going to throw this back at me? My mum loves to tell the story when I was a little kid. I was maybe like, I don't know, 3 or something, or 2. And I was getting babysit by family friends. And Mum was like, oh, what happened? And I think I'd been given a little smack, which is frowned upon these days.
Yes,
but this is
yeah,
the 80s.
yeah,
It's not a big deal. And Mum's like, what'd you give me a smack? He's like, he called me obnoxious.
Yeah.
And so like little kid is like, Linda, you're being obnoxious.
Yeah.
Excuse me, little child, smart ass. What are you doing? That's what you get. That's what you get for teaching me those words. I'm hearing it constantly.
It's coming straight back at you.
Still hearing it.
Yeah.
So it's amazing, because you're having such an incredibly strong body and so much utility, and trying all these things out and being like legitimately excellent at this sport and doing all these things. That's a big deal. Not everyone gets to experience that level of utility, and must feel really great. I always think like when you're doing stuff you're really good at, feels awesome. Feels not so great when you have all this utility in one space and you go to another sport and you realise, oh Jesus, I'm only good at this other thing. It doesn't necessarily mean I've got all this other. It doesn't cross over all the time necessarily to every other sport. But then on top of that, as you bounce around having all this great physical utility, and having a child awesome and fun and doing the best for them, you then have to deal with a whole other sort of side of things. And must have been, I suppose, a few months ago where you sort of came out and said, look, there's been some other stuff that has been going on and it hasn't been great. And I ended up in a medical centre getting stitches put in my head. Can you speak a little bit, I suppose, about how, I guess, what was happening and how you sort of navigate those two alternate worlds?
Yeah. Well, I guess for people probably from the outset, they see me and they see someone who is physically, very, very strong and potentially mentally strong. But I think I had a friend of mine who actually, after I wrote a post about the domestic violence that had happened, and she said that was the first time I've ever actually seen you kind of open up and be vulnerable, which is probably something I'm not particularly great at, but which I'm learning to be better at.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that there is strength in vulnerability. So I think from an outside perspective, it can be, how can you be so strong and have this happen to you?
Mm-hmm.
Which I get, and I understand how conflicting and confusing it must be. But I was in a pretty controlling relationship for a very long time. And yeah, there was a couple of incidents that's happened, and it was the second incident that I reported it. Like most domestic violence cases, the first incident happened and I was like, he seemed incredibly sorry.
Yeah.
And he was actually more apologetic than I was like, he must have, he hadn't worked for 18 months. It must have everything has just gotten to him. and I just thought it wouldn't happen again. But I knew straight away after the second time that was it.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, that was my boundary. But then when I, being out of the relationship now, because it becomes your norm.
Yeah.
Like you don't know any different. But I didn't realise how controlling and, just little things like I loved what I did and I never could feel like I could go home and be happy about it. It was just, up and down roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
That I constantly had to deal with. But you become desensitized to it because it becomes your norm. Kind of as I said earlier, there was some stuff happening in our relationship and I just focused on CrossFit. So in a sense, I'm really glad that I had CrossFit because it saved me. And I know like everybody has this like, oh my gosh, like sounds so cliche, like But the reality is if I didn't have it at that time, then I was in some pretty dark places. Yeah, that nobody knows. Nobody would ever know. And nobody would ever know because I'm just not that type of person. And I think from the experience, obviously I was meant to go through it. I was supposed to, I don't know, I'm a big believer in fate. I think that you can control certain things to a degree, but if you're meant to go through something, you're meant to go through it.
Yep.
And you've kind of got one or two ways of looking at it. You can either continue to be the victim, or you can figure out a way about how something that has happened to you can help to, make you stronger, or you can help other people. So I don't know, that's just kind of my philosophy.
Yeah. You made a decision and it's a powerful thing to do. It's a really hard thing to do. It's really difficult. And like you said, when you speak to more people in the space or people who've been through it, it's rarely that it just falls out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated to anything else. It's often escalating. It becomes your new normal, whatever the situation is. And it doesn't seem like such a giant leap from when you were 15 and you hear about it and you think, oh my goodness, I would never let anyone put their hands on me like that. Do you now have a goal, or are you thinking now like of pushing into that in the same way that you pushed into, say, CrossFit and going, okay, well now I've got to work on whatever neglected part of me that's not obviously out in the gym. Have you sat down and sort of thought, how am I going to push into this? What does that look like? What kind of things do I want to do now? What do I value a little bit differently? Or
I definitely, like, in terms of, so the first couple of months I was literally just surviving. I was probably in shock and panicked, took on a hell of a lot of different jobs, bits and pieces, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to, support my child, everything, how am I going to live? So the first couple of months I was just literally surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like now that I have been able to, I actually feel like the best I've ever felt in a bloody long time, to be honest. Yeah.
Weight off the shoulders.
Oh my God. It's like a massive...
Not that you care about having weight on your shoulders.
Yeah.
In a real sense, but metaphorically.
Yeah. No, I just feel like a complete sense of freedom. It's unbelievable. But now as I navigate my way, it's about really trying to focus on and find what it has taught me is that I can only do so many things in a day, and that the things that I try to do are a lot to do with like family and connection of friends and obviously business. And eventually what I would like to do is I guess be more of a voice for domestic violence, because I feel like if people, can see that exterior and if I can give them a little hope that they need, that they too can leave and it can be okay.
Yeah.
And you can do it. Potentially that's what they may need at that time. So essentially it's like I've kind of, climbed this massive mountain and I've been through all this stuff. But I want to look at myself as the sense of like the Sherpa in showing you, okay, this is the path you take and this is, the road you can travel or how you can climb to get there. So I essentially, I guess that's where my vision is. Yeah.
What kind of support did you receive when
I
pulled the pin, made the decision to walk away and forge ahead?
Well, what I was honestly shocked by was the community. I just, I was so shocked by the amount of support and messages that I'd received from people, and of course, anyone who'd taken the time, especially out of their day, to check up on me, and that was meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Yeah, that means a lot to me because time is so precious in everyone's day. So it was more so support in that sense, and then myself personally, like I went and got I felt that I needed to get support to, recharge my batteries, because in my job where I'm a personal trainer and my job is to help people, and it's a very hard job to do when you're kind of needing help yourself,
yeah,
or you're so broken inside. But I notice,
do 20 squats or don't. I don't care anymore.
I don't really
I don't care.
Today.
Whatever.
Yeah. But I noticed that, after a couple of months, like that it was affecting my business.
Mm-hmm.
And I was literally like, fuck that. He's already taken he's already taken a good 5 years of my life. We were together 10 years and wasn't like that always.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck that. He's already taken enough of my time. I won't let him take, what I've worked so hard for. I'm massive on kinesiology. Got all the support I needed in terms of like psychological working through what the process is, so that I was able to be in a space that it was no longer, and I was able to kind of be grateful for what has happened and be able to, shut that period. Like that was a thing. It was just a thing that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't define me. It's just something that happened. So I think that enabled me to move forward in a more positive manner. And I found that, every day that I was in not saying that every day not everybody's in a positive mind frame all the time. Shit happens, and we have down days, and it's what it is. It's life, right? And you kind of can't taste the like sweet without the sour, or that whole kind of cliche, if you will. But my thought, I guess, once I noticed that mental shift within me, and I was able to bring the energy that I needed to bring to people to help them, I think there was a massive change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the being the Sherpa and thinking about what that looks like, what were maybe the toughest conversations you had to have? What were your toughest conversations to have? How did they go down when you'd made that decision?
Well, I think, I was kind of lucky in terms of the police had removed him from the house itself, so I didn't need to. But I guess in terms of opening up on social media, that was like I was really putting myself out there. I'd always, I guess, been emulated as this strong person, and to me at that time, it felt like there was a crack.
Mm-hmm.
There's a flaw, and there's I'm not a perfectionist. Like I'm the most imperfect perfectionist there is.
Well, there we go.
Sounds like
you just nailed being imperfect.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, but I do like to do well. Yeah, I definitely don't hide behind, my faults or anything like that, because I got a lot of them.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
Come on.
But to me it was, I think at that time saying that there was something wrong with me, because that was kind of the headspace that I was in, that this had happened, which is not actually the case.
Yes.
It's just a thing that happened to me. And it was, it's just a lead up of circumstances, which led me to that place. I had a really good chat with a police officer who looks after a lot of the domestic violence cases in WA. Brian Beck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've chatted to him about it before. Yeah,
he was.
Shout out, Brian. Superstar.
He was, I think the conversation I had with him was probably one of the most enlightening conversations that I had, and one of, in terms of any woman who's going through domestic violence, it's stuff that you need to hear. And it's things like, I guess originally I was like, but I don't understand why he doesn't see that he's done the wrong thing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I can't understand that. How can it be my fault? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he said that that's absolutely normal. It's normal for them to play the victim. It's like, that's just a normal process of, And I said, he's not a bad person, but you back him into a corner and Yeah.
There's a lot of things, because of the way we talk about domestic violence and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, that gets missed. And a lot of it is the lead up years. In practice, it's a creep. It's like a creeping death. Little bits are sort of taken away along the way, and then something happens. And all of a sudden you find yourself like, I've kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And then the sort of follow-up difficulty is like, I didn't think I was that kind of person. Maybe I am. This sucks, but now I'm not quite sure, because I've sort of had little chips taken away, that death by 1,000 cuts on the way up to that point, and I don't know how to deal with it. And I think people simplify it a lot by pointing out the big moment or the big thing or the final thing. We focus really on like, this thing happened, stitches, where people go, that's a binary decision, I'm out. But people don't always do that, because of all these other things that happened in the lead up. And it's those little bits of doubt, taking those little pieces away from you.
Yeah.
And you don't own them anymore, and it becomes very difficult to make those decisions about someone you don't own the same way that you did 10 years ago. I feel like we don't probably talk about that bit enough for people who aren't sure, who might be in the middle of it, feeling like little bits of them are being taken away, and not seeing enough of that happening to be able to recognise that it's happening.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. That dip is where, that self-doubt of what did I do wrong to deserve this, what could I have done differently? That's definitely. And I think, like I said, that talk I had with Brian was, it was just the words that I needed to hear, that no, that's normal. That is normal for them to, that's something, that is normal. Yeah,
it's an unfortunate common situation. The language they use, the things that have happened, it's more common than we're probably aware of. And those little processes are 95% of it. I mean, you're incredibly strong. Getting hurt physically, really, if you stub your toe, if you broke your arm in training, you'd be like, oh, this sucks, and you do the thing. It's the way that it happens. It's not the actual knock or the actual physical pain. Like, I've been in heaps of. I've had a baby, man. Like, are you serious? Like, I had a baby. Like, stop it. But all the things that come with that about taking away pieces of me.
Yes.
That's the bit that makes it hard. And if we focus on the number of stitches rather than the number of little pieces that were taken away over the 10 years, then I think sometimes we miss opportunities to help people recognise that those pieces are being taken away. And shove them back in and,
Yeah.
make a decision a bit earlier, intervene, help,
Yeah.
provide that support around them, have better conversations with people
Yeah.
about that stuff as well. It's tough. It's really hard. But
Yeah.
people like you keep standing up and talking about it, then
Well, hopefully.
hopefully people become a bit more aware and get a little bit more in-depth awareness.
Well, I kind of felt like I had a social responsibility.
Yep.
Because of who I was and what I'd done, and I know that there's so many people that don't speak up about it.
Yep.
But I felt that it was part of my social responsibility to do that, and I think at the end of the day, if I can help one person who is in a situation like me, who is doubting about whether maybe I'm. No, do I leave or do I not? Oh, maybe it's just me. Oh, no, I'm probably just being a bit hard on him, or oh, no. I think if it helps just one person to go, no, this isn't right and this isn't the right way to be treated, I'm leaving. I can make it on my own. I will be okay. Then I know that what I have been through and what has just happened, it won't be for nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And also for people who aren't in that position, take a bit of responsibility for the most vulnerable. Do a better job of looking after each other. We shouldn't always put the onus on people who've just had the roughest time to stand up and talk about it. You should be going out there and advocating for those people and supporting those people and putting time into looking after those people. If you're not one of those people, it doesn't have to just be someone It doesn't just have to be It doesn't have to be you. There are people that need help, and there are people that aren't quite sure. And if you're not one of those people, then you should probably step up for the people that are those people. And if you hear these things, keep an eye out and be the person who can help somebody who needs help. Just feel a bit better and
make a difference.
Just be nice. I just sneaked that in.
Yeah, perfect.
Eddie.
Perfect.
And now that you are on the other side of this situation, and how's your daughter go with it all?
She is she's going through a process.
Yep.
Yeah, and it will be a little bit of a process for her, but she is a pretty resilient little girl.
She's off to Paris, man.
She's off to Paris. She doesn't, She's here with her, she's got 3 nephews that she comes and sees.
Awesome.
When she's here, and she loves it.
Yeah.
Because she's the little one.
Okay.
And,
they just dote on her.
They dote on her, and they've got enough energy to keep up with her, but she'll get in, she'll snuggle in with them. And
awesome.
Oh, yeah. She loves them. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish people asked you about how you're going and everything that no one really asks you?
I think when people say, how you going, it's probably just a follow-up. No. How really?
Really, yeah.
No. Not just surface level.
Yeah.
How really are you going?
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I wish there were more people, but I'm going to say there's potentially not enough people who genuinely want to listen and care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's hard. But we're doing our best.
But we're doing our paving best. The way.
We're
paving
trying.
The way.
We're really trying.
Yeah.
We've got a handful of questions that are like the end questions.
Okay.
They're not too crazy.
Yeah, cool.
Like the first one.
They're not too crazy.
They're not too crazy, but I'm like, but all right. This is, it's a serious thing, and I really appreciate the opportunity to have the conversation, and I appreciate you. And then we go through this thing. It's great, and your daughter's great, and blah blah blah. And the first question is abs or kebabs. Is the first question. So it's just like, yeah. So anyway, also now to wrap it up, like one of those shitty news programs that like does 12 seconds of serious news, and it's like, and now cat stuff. You know? I should reorder them, but yeah. I mean, you could probably do both. I mean, you train well and you have abs. It's been a shit question.
I do like kebabs though, but they have to actually be gyros.
Yeah.
When I was in Greece
for
the Olympics.
Souvlaki situation.
Oh, yeah. And the chips in them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Stop it.
Awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
How do you know if you're doing a good job?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult question.
Yeah.
To answer. Well, I just think you can do the best you can do, and that is all.
Yeah.
That is it.
As long as you feel like you're giving your best.
I think that's it.
You're doing a good job.
It's just, yeah, and
I
if
think
you feel satisfied.
for someone like yourself who is so goal driven and actually, after stuff, I think that's fair enough. I don't think you're cutting yourself too much slack and be like, no, I did my very best. And like, no, you didn't. Like, I did, so you should just think I did a good job. No, I'm pretty sure you're
Can
holding
I get
yourself...
my merit certificate, please?
I feel like you're holding yourself to a high enough standard. That's a totally fine way to work out if you're doing a good job.
Okay.
You can pass a law right now.
Yeah.
What do you pass?
Oh, okay. Gosh. Jaywalking?
Oh, yeah. You're allowed to do it?
You're allowed to do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Awesome.
You
Secretly like a little rebel, crossing roads wherever. Let me know where your daughter gets it from. I'm off to Paris.
Yeah.
And what's your favourite way to just be nice?
I think it's making someone feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's after you have a conversation with them and they walk away feeling empowered.
Yeah. It's a great way to be nice. Now, all the people, where can they find you? Everyone wants to know where you're at. Everyone wants to chat to you and say hi and see what you're up to.
Okay.
So
Instagram is best.
Mm-hmm.
I to be honest, I have a Facebook page. It is there. It's there.
just Denae Brown on everything.
Denae Brown.
I'll put the links in stuff as well.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Yeah. So Instagram, Denae Brown.
Boom. The Denae Brown.
Yeah.
Probably not the one and only, but maybe the best one.
That you know of.
Well, that I know of.
Well, I'm here.
Maybe
so
I know
yeah,
a few.
yeah.
I don't know if you don't know. Sorry, the other Denae Browns. Oh, she's in front of me. I was under pressure.
Yeah.
She's really strong. It's tough, all right? I don't want to flip the table, throw stuff everywhere.
This is bullshit.
Yeah, that's what?
Yeah.
Second best. Goal on the wall. Be the best Denae Brown. Next year, I'm coming back. I'm winning that title.
I'm coming for
I'm
it.
coming for it. But thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you. And hopefully, we can get a chance to touch base again in the future and see how your Sherpering is going. Power to you for doing the things, for all the people that have also had to be in that environment. And it's a tough conversation to have, and it's tough to stand up and talk about it. And I appreciate it. I know plenty of other people do as well. So good on you. You're amazing. Totally amazing. I mean, you were amazing before. It's like, what? Are you serious? Everyone loves Denae. So thank you very much for coming in. It's miles away from Perth. We're a long way. Especially.
Yeah,
you just came for this.
Just came for this.
She came for this, obviously. Yeah, hopefully I'll speak to you again soon. Cheers.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. If you did enjoy it, we would really appreciate it if you could share it with others that you think might also enjoy it. Check out the show notes to find out more. Like, subscribe, maybe even give us a rating if it's a good one. Remember that we care. You matter. Have an amazing day. And as always, just be nice.